And would documents and evidence be sought from them as well?
Yes, there is no doubt that the financial institutions involved in the underlying financing or promoting the securities in this indictment have already been contacted and are already providing information. These are the financial transactions. These are the communications. These are any interactions with the defendants or the unindicted co-conspirators in this case. In terms of the Adani group, they have already suffered financial impacts in terms of the reduction of their stock price. I believe at least one contract in Africa, I believe Kenya, was already canceled. So there's hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue that will be lost. In addition, because of the nature of the securities allegations, there is also the potential that they will be restricted or excluded from raising money on U.S. markets. And then the final issue is similar to the Kenyan government's desire to no longer engage in any contracts with the Adani group. A lot of financial institutions, particularly in the United States, will be concerned with financing or any type of lending or banking relationship with any company affiliated with the Adani group, for the simple reason that they are potentially in the middle of a criminal and securities fraud investigation and prosecution, meaning that increases the risks massively for the financial institutions who never want to take very many risks more than they have to, and tend to be much more conservative in issues like this.
Right. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us with those very important views and perspective on how this case could proceed further. Definitely some very serious charges there. Thank you once again for being with us. Moving on Global Eye, the International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, former Israeli Defense Minister Gallant and Hamas leader Ibrahim al-Masri over alleged war crimes. The judges stated that there were reasonable grounds to arrest them. They believe that Netanyahu, Gallant and al-Masri bear criminal responsibility for the war crime of starvation as a method of warfare. The Israeli government has rejected the decision, calling the move anti-Semitic. Netanyahu's office added that Israel won't give in to pressure in defense of its citizens. The United Nations has also rejected the International Criminal Court's warrant. The US, which is not a member of the ICC, has previously welcomed their war crimes warrants against Vladimir Putin and other Russian officials for atrocities committed in Ukraine. However, Palestine has welcomed the move, adding that this restores hope in international law. We're now joined by KP Fabian, former Indian ambassador to Qatar. Ambassador Fabian, thank you very much for joining us on the program. What kind of a message is US sending out by rejecting the decision of the ICC to issue arrest warrants against Israeli officials?
The message US is sending out is that it wants to be inconsistent. As you said, US is not a signatory to the Rome Convention statute, which was signed when I was ambassador to Rome. US is not a signatory, nor is it a signatory. But nevertheless, when the ICC issued an arrest warrant against President Putin, Washington was very pleased. So US does not want to be consistent. That its support for Israel is rock solid, ironclad, as Biden likes to put it.
Right. My last question to you, Ambassador Fabian, would be, what will now be the ramifications of this arrest warrant? Will it remain only on paper? Is it only symbolic, or does it create any sort of pressure on Netanyahu?
Well, it does not create any pressure in the sense that his behavior will not change. But he will not be going to any of the 124 member states which have signed the Rome Statute. That would include the European Union and many other countries. So his travel will be limited. And also, Israel's international standing has been undermined further. So, but as I said, it won't affect the behavior.
Right. How do you think India would be responding to whatever has happened in ICC? Do you feel that India will maintain a very neutral stand and not comment on this at all?
I do not know whether India has commented, but as I said earlier, India also is not a signatory to the Rome Statute, so India is not part of the ICC, and I don't expect India to comment.
Right. Thank you so much, Ambassador Fabian, for putting that story into perspective for our viewers. An important development there at the international stage vis-a-vis the war in Gaza. And let's hope there is some clarity and end to the war in the Middle East, as well as you also hope for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Global Eye. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to CNBC TV 18 for more news and updates.